folks, Sty here. Time for a Sty story. Okay. One thing I always want to do is try to keep my channel family friendly. So if I tell a story or something that I think that that you may not want your children to watch, I always want to try to warn you up front, so that you don't just the whole family gets on the couch and fires up a Sty story, and then the parents are busy covering the kids' ears. We don't want them to hear that. So this is one of those Sty stories where it is most likely needs to be age appropriate. I wouldn't say that it's the type of thing where YouTube or Facebook or anybody would say, "Oh, you got to be over 18 to hear that story." No, they wouldn't do that. It's not that. It's not that bad. But this story is more for the more mature audience, I guess, and hopefully you'll get a kick out of it. But you may not want your youngest, your little ones, hearing this story. And I apologize for those that have their children watch my channel. This is just one video. I think I did one other one. Well, it had to do with the butchering of a turtle. But I'll get on with the story. Well, this dear friend of mine and we hunted together for years and years, and we were always looking for ways to make an extra buck, and if we could find something that had to do with the outdoors to earn a few bucks, you betcha we'd jump right on it. Well, he's an awesome professional artist. He did all of my tattoo work, and all my tattoo work, by the way, is all freehand. He just sat down with photographs and drawings on a board and started to tattoo those pieces without any outline, anything. The man's amazing. Well, he went to work because this fellow wanted a pencil drawing, a big sketch, a big pencil drawing of a white-tailed deer from him. And he got talking to this fellow. Well, that fellow owned a taxidermy shop. And my buddy talked to him for a while about it, and they decided, well, yeah, he's so detail-oriented that this guy wanted him to work for his taxidermy shop. So he took a job there, doing mounts, and all kinds of things they did. He did deer, he did fish, he did bears, he did everything. But if you've never been in the back room of a taxidermy shop before, it's a little shocking. They get hides in from all kinds of different people, and some people prepare the hides properly, some do not. And so they hire people to clean the hides up and help clean the capes, the heads, the capes, for the mounts. And there was this gal, and she was an older gal, that they had hired just during bear season, just to handle the bear hides coming in that people wanted made into bear rugs. And first thing she had to do was she would have to inspect the hide, and what she would do is she'd run these 3 different type combs through the pelt to look for bald spots or bad spots in the bear, and then she'd turn the hide over, and then she'd inspect it for the bullet hole and any other damage to the hide. And then her job was to scrape that hide of everything off of it, the membrane, the meat, the fat, anything that's left on that hide. That was her job. Well, this gal, and I would never use her name. Well, I couldn't now because I don't recall her name. But, and she's no longer with them. But she kind of had a hygiene issue. She wasn't too keen on her hygiene, and she lived on an old farm that she had electricity, but she didn't have running water, and she was just kind of a different character. And one night she told my buddy, she goes, she says, I haven't seen a doctor in so many years. I wouldn't even know how to arrange to see a doctor. And she said, but I'm thinking I need to. And he goes, why? She says, well, I'm feeling so ill and I feel weak and tired. I just don't feel good at all. And she said, and I'm a little worried because she says, I've got these moles on the back of my neck that they bother me. They kind of hurt, and they seem to be getting larger. And she asked him, can you take a look at them for me and tell me if they look bad or anything like that? She said, I tried to see in the mirror. I can't see back there. And he said, sure. And she lifted her hair up, and here she had 5 huge wood ticks. They had been there for quite a while. They were huge. And he told her, you have wood ticks on the back of on the nape of your neck. And she goes, oh, can you take those off? And he goes, no, absolutely not. He said, they're huge. He said, you need to go to a doctor to get those removed. And she said, now the gal was, like I said, she had a hygiene issue, and she said that she said she really needed to take a bath before she could go to a doctor. And my buddy said that would be a good idea. The doctor would appreciate that. Well, finally she made a doctor's appointment and got to the doctor, but it was like 4 days later. Boy, I would have been running to the emergency room if I had. He said a couple of those wood ticks were as big as my thumbnail. They were huge. Well, she went to the doctor, and they got a phone call from the hospital calling for her to work, saying she won't be able to be into work for at least a week, and possibly 2. And when they asked why, they said, well, we can't tell you why. We just have to tell you that she has a medical condition that won't allow her to work for a week or 2. And they said, well, okay. Well, when she got out of the hospital, she came into work to tell them why. Here, underneath her stomach, was a long row of wood ticks. Not just the 5 on the nape of her neck, but she had them under her stomach. She had like a stomach flap, and it was under her stomach. Well, my buddy asked her, well, how many did you have? And she goes, counting the ones on my neck, 37. She had 37 huge wood ticks. And while him and the owner of the shop were talking about it, people in the shop started gathering around to hear this story. And I thought, oh, that poor gal, if she knew all these people were listening to her story, And before we knew it, we had about 15 people in this small little room all gathered around talking about wood ticks. And I said, I gotta get out of here. And my buddy says, why? Stick around. I said, no, I gotta get out of here. I said, this place it's got too many people in it. He says, yeah, that's a lot of people. I said, they're thicker than ticks on a bear skinner's belly. And I left. And I don't know why, but I started saying that. Whenever I get into a real crowded place somewhere, I'll say, oh man, I gotta get out of here. The people are as thick as ticks on a bear skinner's belly. So there, there you go. A saying that I kind of adopted, and so if you ever hear me say, boy, it's as thick as a bear's, the ticks on a bear skinner's belly, you know where it came from. It's a terrible thing that happened to her, but I couldn't help myself, and that's just the way I can be sometimes. I can be just terrible. So if you get into a situation where it's as thick as ticks on a bear skinner's belly, you should just pull your boots on and get out of there. So there you go. There's a sty story about ticks. Okay. Like I said, you might not want your children to hear that one. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Sty saying the next story will be a lot nicer. And you all have a nice day. Bye-bye.